Going on today, guys? All right, so since I was a COVID plant lover, I've always been a little bit reserved on kind of speaking on things about the plant community because I always feel like I just got into it. I'm a little bit new, you know. But I do feel confident in sharing with you these 5 essentials that you need along this journey. I have definitely found out that it's really you versus you when you're in here with your plants. And I'm just saying that your plants are going to do good based off of the amount of care that you want to give to them for them to do good, you know? So I don't believe that it's a plant that's too difficult for anyone to do if you actually really are willing to do the work for it. So for me, the plants that I have, they aren't difficult plants. They're very easygoing plants. They're plants that if I forget about them for a couple of days, they'll still be fine. Some of them a couple of weeks. Some of them you can probably get away with a month or longer. Not telling you to do that. What I'm saying is that those are the plants that I feel comfortable in caring for because it allows me to grow at the pace that I want to grow. Now, I do feel confident enough to start going after those more difficult plants to grow. But why do I want to do that if I don't need to, you know? So one thing that I do, and this is probably another video, is that I always get the basic version of the plant first. I feel like getting the basic part of the plant, it cuts that expense all the way down to the bare minimum, and it allows you to be able to care for that plant without this super high expectation of you gotta achieve it because you just blew a lot of money. Failure is not an option, you know. And I'm not saying that that shouldn't be the principle in any plant that you're buying. What I'm saying is that I'm okay with losing $5 instead of $100, point blank. Do I want to lose anything? No, that's not the aim. I don't buy a plant for it. Hey, I'm gonna buy you from the store just so I can kill you. No, I don't do that. But I will say that if that $5 plant perishes, I'm not gonna be boo-hooing crying like $100 plant that perished. You know, so that's one thing that I do when I go into the plant store and I start to take an interest in a particular plant. If it's not the basic plant and it's just a variegated version, and I really like that plant and that plant is goals, then I'll just start looking around to see if it's like a basic plant or a plant that's not variegated. It'll be a lot cheaper. Okay, sorry about that. Got a little sidetrack. Let's get into this. All right, so beginner friendly plants. I preach this to you all the time is beginner friendly plants, beginner friendly plants. Why? Beginner friendly plants are really good for you to be able to learn a whole new responsibility. Remember, these plants don't talk, although you will talk to them. Maybe not nice words all the time, but you will talk to them. And it requires you to have to pay attention to these plants. And what happens is that if you just jump and never pay attention to if it's a beginner friendly plant or not, you're going to go buy this difficult plant, right? And you're going to work with it. It may cost a little bit more than a beginner friendly plant because most beginner friendly plants are cheap. But you go and get this plant that has this high expectation for you to care for it. You don't know. You just got it. You just think that you're going to give it some water and a little sunlight and you good to go. It don't work like that. When they say chunky mix, they do mean chunky mix. When they say 8 to 10 hours, they do mean 8 to 10 hours. You know, you go and get this plant and the next thing you know, it dies on you. And now all your confidence is gone now. Now you feel like you just can't care for plants. And that's far from it. You would have went and got that beginner friendly plant, something that can almost grow with no sunlight, barely giving it water, sole preference. You get something like that and you start doing good. You build up the confidence in there. That's going to encourage you to go and get more plants. Still stick with them beginner plants. Now, I would say my first 10. I would say my first 30 or 40 plants were like beginner friendly plants. Now, they were stupid, the ones I was buying, like the variegated versions, and I didn't know how to care for these plants. So I'm paying a whole lot of money, but they still was beginner friendly plants. Just was expensive plants. But You want to have these plants be beginner friendly because they're easy to grow and they're going to allow you to be able to give it the care that you need. And then you can get more from them because their care is low maintenance. That's what you want. All right. So beginner friendly. You can write this down, screenshot it, whatever. Philodendrons, pothos, monsteras. The philodendron and pothos, you can interchange those however you want to, and the monstera, always leave that one last. Now, I am going to throw something else into the mix that's going to move the monstera over one now since it just popped up. Hoyas. I forgot about Hoyas. Hoyas are very easy. I'm not a big Hoya lover. I'm just not. It's not that they're ugly. It's just that I don't have a need for them because what they give is like pothos and philodendrons just in a hard plastic wax form. And if you're into that, hey, get into that because they still are pretty. It's just I don't have a need for them. But pothos, philodendrons, Hoyas, and monsteras, those are your beginner friendly plants that you want to go with. And let's just go ahead and put in there a snake plant and a ZZ plant. I don't own either one of them, which isn't why I listed them, but they are extremely easy. People who can't grow plants at all can grow those. So I'm going to put it on a list because I do think that is notable, worth mentioning. But those are some good plants for you just to kind of start with. Don't think, now I listed those, just remember, I listed those plants, but remember, those plants is just a genius. Like, you are going to get into a whole nother world. There are still philodendrons that I'm just finding out that exist daily. You know what I mean? And people hybrid and all that, or hybrid, whatever it is, all that type of stuff now. So, I mean, next year we can find a blue plant, probably. You know, I mean, they do have them out now, but whatever. Okay, so beginner friendly, we got that. Well draining pot and soil. Well draining pot and soil. The soil does matter. Now, if you want to be El Cheapo, that's fine. But understand that your plants are going to look like the soil that you're using. Take that for however way you want. I do use Miracle-Gro, and I have nothing wrong against Miracle-Gro, but there are better stuff to get your plants better results. Miracle-Gro, to me, is not a start and finish type of mix. I mix Miracle-Gro in with additional items that makes that Miracle-Gro, to me, worth going to the store buying, because guess what? It's just indoor potting mix. So when I need indoor potting mix, Miracle-Gro is the way to go because I'm going to make my mix and mix it all in together. But if you are just getting started or you're on this journey now and your soil always have gnats in it, is retaining a whole lot of water, it's because it needs to be chunky, it needs to be airy. Like you got to put some addition to it. So you can still keep your Miracle-Gro. Nothing's wrong with that. Just add you a little bit of bark, add you a little bit of perlite, and now add you a little bit of horticulture charcoal. It's supposed to be really good. I'll get back to you on why. Other than it's good for fighting off pests, but it's something else that it does for the nutrients. I'm probably not going to never circle back around. It's good. I put it in the plants. My plants doing fine. So, that is a good soil for you to be able just kind of start with, to keep your plants just thriving and being healthy, because that's going to help a lot with the next thing that we get to when we're talking about our pots. Pots need to be well draining, guys. I know these pots are pretty that we go to the store and we get, but they need to be well draining. They need to have holes at the bottom. Let me see if I can find an example right quick. All right, so here we are. Bottom of your pot, well draining. You see these holes? That's going to be for that water to be able to drain through, for that air to be able to come through, oxygen jobs, whatever it is that plants need to do. But that's what that needs to be. But if you get you a really nice just pot, let's just say like this. This is a philodendron silver sword, by the way. I do need to cut the leaf on here. I don't know what happened. I think the leaf was trying to come out and sunlight just hit it and it's just over for it. But guys, look at this pot. Now, this is a self-watering pot, so this is not the best example, but I'm just trying to give you this situation. You buy a nice pot, it's real nice. Down here is no holes, there's no drainage, there's no anything. What happens when you pour the water in the top of this pot to water your plant? It doesn't leave. So it sits in all of this. And you know what all of this is? I don't know if you can see the water stuff coming out. Hopefully you can Get in there, see some water. Kind of stinks. It has like fish stuff in there. But you get that, and all that moisture, that water just sits there in that pot. What you think is going to happen? Root rot. Plant dies. You want to know why? Because none of the water left out your pot. It stayed in there. Killed it. Now, on the flip of how these two work together, when we're talking about our chunky mix and the pot mix, well, when you pour, let's just say Miracle Grow, when it gets wet, if you've never used Miracle Grow before, and sorry, Miracle Grow, I am not talking trash about you. I'm actually encourage you. I'm actually letting everybody know Miracle Grow is good. I'm just giving you the consistency. If you take Miracle Grow and you put a lot of water on it, it's almost like mud, right? If you take chunky mix and perlite or whatever it is you need that you want to buy, is your preference. But if you get those two and put them together, it's going to make that mush real airy. So like, yes, it got wet, but it's just a little bit of it so you can move it around. It's not just stuck there, right? So think about if you have a pot that you're able to put that mix that actually can move around airy in, and that water actually just goes straight on through from the top to the bottom. That plant drinks it up and is good for the next couple of days. Versus you don't have that, you pour it in, it stops. So all that water sitting in that mud that your plant is sitting in. Okay, so that's what's going on with that. So pot, soil does matter. Let's get to our next one. Routine. Do not put your plants on a watering routine unless you want your plants to die. I'm going to say it one more time. Do not put your plants on a watering routine unless you want your plants to die. You have to get off your butt and actively go to all of your plants and make sure that they're okay. It does me no good to not get over here and take a look at my plants to make sure that they are healthy. I got to get in here, take a look at them. And this is how you're able to tell if your plant needs watering, right? If your plant starts curling in, and the tips are dry and the leaves feel almost crunchy, a little bit crispy, that's a good indicator that your plants do need water, okay? Now, if your plants are turning brown and they're very like soft, kind of soggy, and you poke your finger on the soil and it feels cool, you've overwatered your plant. You have to come over here and take a look though at your plant leaves to find out what's going on, because not all of these plants need water. I have two of these plants that actually needs water and one of them that don't. If I just put water in all three of them, one of them is going to get root rot. And if I just assume that I checked the first one and that one has moisture in it, and I assume the other ones are fine, they're going to die from dehydration or die all the way back. And you can use some of them, you can revive, but we don't want those problems, right? All right. Next thing we're going to get into is going to be our light source. Guys, lights matter. Okay. When I first got into this hobby, I didn't own a grow light, didn't even know what a grow light was. I would just rely on my windows or my door, whatever way I can get light. That's what my plants would get. Guys, my plants were not thriving. It just wasn't getting enough light. They just wasn't. And none of my plants in here are plants that's just like, oh, give me all the light. Now, my monsteras might be a little like that. But for the most part, everybody's really chill. But that was still just not enough light. So I was like, you know what? Let me try this. Let me get some grow lights, whatever. So I just bought one set, and it had like, it was a 5-head. So it had 1, 2, 3, like a little alien. And then it had the cord to drop down to the floor, so forth, like the ones I have in the room. I bought that, and I noticed a difference in my plants. Not like the first 1 or 2 weeks. It was more so like after a month. And the thing is, when stuff just starts doing good, like you're like, yeah. I never like put it together like that grow light is really paying off. It was just like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And then it clicked somehow. I don't know when. It was a couple of days later. I wasn't too late to the party, I don't think. And I was like, wow, so the grow lights must really work. Still didn't 100% believe that was what was doing it, but I still bought another one just to buy and put over by some other plants. And I noticed that it was doing this thing, and that's why I can tell you right now, light does matter. Now, if lighting is an issue for you, Number one, just keeping it hot. You probably shouldn't buy that plant that needs a lot of light. You're just asking for troubles. But if you so happen to buy that plant that is asking for a lot of light, then go ahead and get you a grow light. Grow light's gonna do good. I mean, I'm still torn half and half. I believe that plants just do better getting the natural light than the artificial light. But artificial light or no light, definitely let's go with the artificial light. All right, next, 5, patience. Patience, patience, patience. Guys, take your time with this journey. I am still taking my time on this journey. Write things down. Get you a plant app. Like, I spent a lot of money on buying apps for reminders, trying to take pictures so I can know what kind of plant it is. I would probably do it over again because that's how intrigued I was into learning what kind of plants that these were. Now, what I did find out is that it is just better to ask somebody who collect plants a question as to what kind of plant you may or may not have, because most of these apps do be naming these plants wrong, if you ask me. But sometimes they do get you in the right direction. Like, if you don't know if this is a monstera or a signonium, like, that will help for that. But when you start getting into, is this a monstera addisoni or a monstera escaleta or a monstera Los Teos, like, they probably just gonna kind of give you one Swiss cheese plant, monstera, or whatever. And yes, it's not a bad answer, but that's not the particular plant that you have. So sometimes it's good just to ask somebody. Now, I will say this. There are so many different type of plants that even when you ask somebody, let's say you ask me, hey, Shawn, what kind of philodendron do I have? Man, they be making up names like left and right so many times. I might just say, hey, it's called a green Congo philodendron. I do have one of those, and that's what it's called. And next month, they've had a name called the green... No, actually mine is called the green Congo nuclear philodendron. Next month, they'll turn around and have one called the green Iceland green variegated Congo philodendron. Same damn plant. I don't know. Anywho, all right, so that's all I got for you. Hopefully you was able to get something from this, and I'll see you next time because I know you want to know. All right.